Let me tell you something about Thursday mornings in my neighborhood. Normally, they're the definition of peaceful. Picture it: sprinklers ticking away, dogs yapping at delivery trucks, sunlight streaming through half-closed blinds, everyone in their own little rhythm. That's where I was, right in the middle of my kitchen, hands wrapped around a mug of Colombian coffee, AirPods in, laptop open, already thinking about the Zoom call I had in 15 minutes. Working from home always felt like a blessing on days like this. Upstairs, my granddad Henry Lawson, yeah, that Henry, the one neighbors call the Old Lion, was posted up in his favorite recliner in the den. 80 years old, a black veteran, silver beard softening a face that's seen more storms than most people could even imagine. He didn't say much these days, but when he did, you listened. Man's voice had that heavy weight that only comes from living through things most folks would never survive. Banging at the front door that makes your heart jump sideways. I'm talking bang, bang, bang. Not the polite tap of a neighbor, not the lazy ring of a doorbell. No, this was the sound of someone. HOA enforcement printed bold across their chests. One had a clipboard clamped in his fist, another wore sunglasses even though the porch was in the shade, and all three of them stood like they were waiting for trouble. I cracked the door, just a sliver, enough to talk, not enough to step in. "Can I help you?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The one in front leaned in, put his hand on the doorframe like he owned it. "We're here for an urgent inspection on behalf of the HOA," he said, all rehearsed and official sounding. "We'll need to come inside. Won't take long." A mall kiosk. Deep down, I knew, do not let them in. So I held my ground. Emergency inspection? Never heard of that. The dude with the badge just stared, didn't even blink. "Your property's been flagged for noncompliance. We're authorized to inspect for unauthorized changes." Open the door fully. He even held up the clipboard, like that made it gospel. You ever had someone show up at your house, acting like they owned the place? Like they could walk in just because they said a few magic words? What would you do if three men in uniforms tried to shove their way in, demanding to see your home? Just for a second, where are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. I always get a kick out of seeing just how far these stories travel. And hey, if you believe in protecting your family, your home, your rights, smash that like button and subscribe, because what happened next, it's a lesson in real courage. Anyway, back to my front porch. I kept the door barely open, fingertips tight on the edge. "You got documentation from the board or a warrant?" Because I've never heard of HOA inspectors entering homes. The guy angled the clipboard my way, but the papers looked off. No stamps, no signatures, just some bold paragraphs meant to sound official, but not actually saying anything. The two guys behind him didn't move a muscle, didn't even look at each other, just stood there, watching me, like security guards waiting for trouble. The longer I stood there, the clearer it got. This wasn't right. I was about to say I'd call the HOA myself, but before I could finish, the lead guy shoved his boot into the threshold, wedged the door open another inch. Energy in the air shifted, fast. He leaned in, muscled the door wider, and all three of them just stepped inside. No yelling, no wild threats, just this smooth, practiced confidence, like they'd done this before and expected nobody would ever call their bluff. I stumbled back, suddenly cold in my own house, air sharp and wrong. I opened my mouth to yell, but something else interrupted, a sound so sharp it cut through everything. Click. You know that sound if you've ever been around firearms. Metallic, clear, and absolutely final. Every head turned, right to the top of the stairs, where my granddad Henry stood, framed by morning light, one hand resting easy on the banister. "Your attention. You fellas aren't HOA," Henry said, voice so level it might have been ice water. "And you're done here." Those three men, suddenly, the wind was gone from their sails. The youngest twitched toward his belt. Panic, maybe, or instinct. Henry didn't wait to find out which. He racked that shotgun once, loud, then sent a shell straight into the ceiling. Drywall exploded. Dust everywhere. The ceiling fan jumped and rattled above us. I set out. He called again, louder this time, and I swear, every molecule in that room froze. Ceiling debris drifted down like dirty snow. All three guys, these tough, fake enforcers, stood stock still, eyes wide, hands up. The youngest slowly raised his palms, No more reaching for anything. The tallest wouldn't look Henry in the eyes, and the sunglasses guy just swallowed, throat bobbing like he'd been punched in the gut. I snapped out of it, phone already in my hand, voice shaking but steady enough to call 911. We have 3 men impersonating HOA inspection officers. They forced their way inside. My grandfather is armed and protecting us. We need police now. I didn't take my eyes off the intruders. And neither did Henry. He stayed on those stairs, finger off the trigger, but ready, shotgun pointed down just enough to show he wasn't some fool about to go off by accident. Only sign of his age was a slight tremor in his left leg, but his stance, that was a lifetime of drawing lines nobody crossed. Minutes felt like hours. Then, finally, sirens, growing louder, slicing through the tension. Red and blue lights flickering on the walls, patrol cars skidding to a stop out front. The 3 men looked deflated. The act was over. I backed away from the door as 2 officers came in tactical. But we're safe, I told them. They nodded, swept the living room. And when they saw Henry on the stairs, one officer spoke up, calm and clear. Sir, please place the weapon down and step back for us. Henry's eyes met his. No ego, no argument, just a slow, deliberate nod, like a man who knows when the fight's finished. He set the shotgun down, came down the stairs steady, holding the railing. The 3 intruders got ordered to the floor, hands behind their backs, zip ties swapped for steel cuffs. The cops searched them, found a civilian taser, plastic restraints, forged paperwork. No ID. No HOA anything. Their fake authority melted away real fast under actual law. With the 3 cuffed and propped up against my living room wall, the danger finally drained out of the house. Didn't feel safe yet, but at least it wasn't hostile. Officer Daniel Reeves, senior guy, took over. Steady, good presence, the kind of cop you want handling things when the world's upside down. He listened as I explained everything. Every knock, every forced step, every second my granddad stood at the top of those stairs with a shotgun and nerves of steel. Henry answered his questions. 2, brief, calm, more like a military debrief than a police statement. The officers went through the men's stuff. Nothing legit, not a trace of actual HOA. What they did find made it clear this wasn't a misunderstanding. Printed violation notices, fake badges, zip ties, that taser tucked in a belt. As the story came out, police confirmed what Henry and I already knew in our guts. These guys, reminding folks that emergency inspections aren't even real. But neighbors? Nobody felt settled. These men had been at it for weeks, slipping into homes because nobody wanted to call out a uniform. A vest and talking authority doesn't mean they are. Word got around anyway. Neighbors started calling Henry a hero. But to him, that didn't mean a thing. He wasn't looking for headlines. He was just standing his ground with nothing but grit and a shotgun. If you believe nobody has the right to intimidate a family in their own home, if you think real courage means holding your ground even when